Also, in presidential politics, Donald Trump, while still trying to figure out what happens with Mitt Romney and Secretary of State and some of these other positions, he did name Betsy DeVos to the Department of Education, to head up the Department of Education. And this is causing some controversy, mostly among the liberal left and the powerful teachers unions. They can't stand the idea of this because Betsy DeVos is really strong as an advocate for vouchers in charter schools. And, you know, that's something that Donald Trump has vowed that he will push vouchers in this country. So in that regard, Betsy DeVos is a really good choice. Now, I've noticed that some in the press, they're trying to create a wedge between Betsy DeVos and some conservatives because she's not perfect. She's worked for organizations. She's served on the boards of organizations that have supported vouchers but have also supported Common Core. Now, she says personally she's opposed to Common Core. And Donald Trump has vowed to get rid of Common Core, which is good. I hope he does. So what this is being turned into is that Betsy DeVos is being viewed as somebody who's pro-Common Core. Like, for example, Frank Cannon is quoted by CNN. Frank Cannon is the president of an anti-Common Core group called American Principles Project. And CNN quotes him as saying that DeVos is a, quote, very Jeb-like pick. Jeb Bush has been a big supporter of Common Core, Jeb Bush has. But Cannon goes on to say, quote, he repeatedly assured parents, Trump did, across the heartland that he intended to return power over education to local schools. It's puzzling then to see reports that Trump transition team is naming an establishment pro-Common Core Secretary of Education, Betsy DeVos. All right, here's the problem, folks. I don't think it's fair to call her pro-Common Core. She specifically says, I am not in favor of Common Core. I'm against Common Core. I'm not pro-Common Core. But she merely serves on the board of an organization that happens to support Common Core, but also happens to support vouchers, which she's really passionate about. And her thing is, you can serve on a board that promotes vouchers and not agree with everything else that that organization does. I don't know what's going to happen with her as education secretary. This is ultimately going to be Donald Trump's decision. It is my hope that they get rid of Common Core. And I do think that needs to be gotten rid of. But I desperately think we need vouchers in this country. And so the National Education Association, they're the largest labor union in the U.S. They're really against DeVos. They have slammed Donald Trump for picking her, saying, quote, she has lobbied for failed schemes like vouchers. These schemes do nothing to help our most vulnerable students while they ignore or exacerbate glaring opportunity gaps. By nominating Betsy DeVos, the Trump administration has demonstrated just how out of touch it is with what works best for students, parents, educators, and communities. No, teachers union, you're kidding yourself, okay? What you don't like is that she doesn't work best for you, putting more money in your pockets. The teachers unions are trying to keep their power, and they don't like the idea of students getting using voucher programs to get a better education, to come out of failing schools and go into better school districts or better schools or private schools. They don't like that because then that's less money and less power that the teachers unions have. So that's the reason that they're against this. Truth is, folks, when you encourage competition, and that's what voucher and charter schools do, they encourage competition. They force the public schools to compete for dollars. And when you compete for dollars, you know what happens? Your quality goes up. Your management improves. But the unions aren't as powerful then, and they don't like that. My thing is, here, just simply look at this on behalf of the kids. You do realize who vouchers help more than anyone else, of everybody in America. You know the communities they help the most? Poor, inner-city, predominantly African-American communities and families. They're the ones that are helped the most by voucher programs. To get these kids out of the failing schools and give them an opportunity to attend private schools where they can get a better education. Now, wait a minute, I'm confused here. If Republicans... I thought Republicans were so racist. If Republicans are so racist, why do they support voucher programs that make it easier for black families to take their kids out of the inner city schools and, wait a minute, put them into the white suburban private schools? Why are Republicans trying to do that? I thought Republicans were racist people. Yet here's Republicans saying, look, let's support vouchers because what it'll do is, the white suburban schools, it will bring more African-American students from the inner city and from the failing schools into the white suburban schools that are doing better academically. And by the way, have less crime too, on average. Isn't it interesting that racists, the racism charge is leveled at Republicans all the time? When you look at the voucher program, it's exactly the opposite, isn't it? All right. So we'll see. Is Betsy DeVos a perfect choice? I don't know. I mean, I'd rather she not have been on a board of an organization that happens to support Common Core. But she says she's opposed to Common Core, and I do think it's important for Donald Trump to get rid of Common Core, and it's especially important for him to follow through on his pledge to push voucher programs in this country. And it sounds to me like Betsy DeVos, who's a strong advocate and activist for vouchers in charter schools, in that regard is probably a good pick. All right, but we'll see. You're listening to The Bob Duco Show.